You're paying rent every month, watching it go up year after year and trying to save for a down payment, but it feels impossible when you don't have family money or anyone who's been through the process before. What most first generation home buyers in New Hampshire don't realize is there's actually a program built specifically for people in your exact situation. And it provides down payment assistance you don't have to pay back if you stay in the home for 4 years. I'm Kathleen Connerty with Pinnacle Mortgage Corporation, and I put together a guide that breaks down how this works, who qualifies, and how to access it before the funding runs out. The First Gen program exists because New Hampshire Housing recognized something important. If your parents never owned a home, you're starting from a different place than buyers who had help. So they created a program that gives you the information and financial support you didn't get growing up. So here's how it works. The program provides down payment assistance that can be used toward your down payment, closing costs, and prepaid escrows. It's structured as a second mortgage with no monthly payments and no interest. And after 4 years of living in the home as your primary residence, it's completely forgiven. To qualify, you and anyone else on the loan must have never owned a home. And this is the key part. Your parents or legal guardians must not have owned a home during your lifetime. That's what makes you a first generation home. The property must be a 1 to 4 unit primary residence in New Hampshire, and you have to pair the assistance with one of New Hampshire Housing's first mortgage programs. You'll also complete a face-to-face homebuyer education course with an approved agency like Ahead, Home Team, or the Housing Partnership. Think of it as the information other buyers got from their parents. Everything you need to know to feel confident and prepared. You'll need to meet the income and purchase price limits of the first mortgage program you choose. And those vary depending on what fits your situation. And here's the good part. There's no separate application for the down payment assistance. Your lender handles everything when reserving your first mortgage. It all happens together. But you should know this is a pilot program with limited funding, and it's first come, first serve. New Hampshire Housing can pause or end it at any time. If you think you might buy in the next year, now is the time to look into this, not later. The program launched in June of 2023, and it's already helping first generation buyers get into homes. But because the funding isn't unlimited, you don't want to assume it'll be available when you're ready. Finding out if you qualify now puts you in the best position. A lot of people don't realize that being the first in your family to buy a home actually makes you eligible for something. It's not a disadvantage. It's a qualifier. And if you don't know this program exists, you could spend years renting and saving for a full down payment you don't actually need. The funds only need to be repaid if you sell, refinance, stop living in the home, or file for bankruptcy before the 4 years are up. Stay in the home for 4 years and the entire second mortgage is gone, forgiven. Think about what that means. You could buy a home now for your down payment and closing costs, build equity for 4 years, and end up with only the first mortgage left. Meanwhile, renters around you are still paying more every year with nothing to show. This is how you break the cycle. This is how you become the first generation in your family to build wealth through homeownership. Exactly what this program was designed. But you have to know it exists. And if you have to work with a lender who understands how to layer the assistance correctly. If you go to someone who doesn't know the program, you might never hear about it. The guide I put together explains the entire program, the eligibility rules, how forgiveness works, what the education course includes, how the lender handles the application, and what steps to take if you think you might qualify. This isn't something to figure out at the last minute. This is something to explore now before you start looking at homes, because the way your financing is set up determines whether you can access this assistance. If you're a first-generation buyer in New Hampshire and you've been renting because you thought you couldn't afford to buy, or you've been saving for years thinking you need the full down payment, you need to see this guide. It could change your timeline completely. Comment below and I'll send it.